You want to call the meeting, Mr. Jacobs?
Yeah, the meeting's called to order.
Okay. Roll call. Mr. Bruno Slight. Mr. Robert Mancha.
Present.
Rick Garza. Louis Pellegrin.
Here.
Mr. Gary Jacobs.
Present.
Ricardo Contreras.
Present.
José Antonio Martínez.
Here.
Fernando Rodríguez.
Present.
And Joaquin Rodriguez. Okay, Mr. Chair, we have a quorum. Before we get to the minutes, I guess we need to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll go to the minutes. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Then David's gonna sing, no? David, the national anthem.
Okay, Mr. Jacobs, as now we're with part 3 as far as with the minutes. I know you had some questions or concerns about it.
First thing, this is just for discussion with the committee, but in Los Angeles City Secretary's notice of meeting agenda under public comment, he talks about citizens can have the right to talk 3 minutes and then comment should be delivered in a professional manner. No derogatory remarks will be permitted. I don't know about that. In other words, I've been watching all this stuff about parents wanting to go to school board meetings and find out what their children are being taught, and the federal government's kind of trying to intimidate people, in my opinion, from being able to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone's very emotional about some issue, why should we push back on that? I mean, if somebody comes in and starts throwing rocks at us, that's one thing, but telling people how they can speak seems to me inappropriate, and I don't think anybody can get much out of any value to the committee in 3 minutes. Maybe, but
Right.
it just seems tokenism to me. If somebody cares enough about golf or the golf course to come make their presentation, could be a person older than me, might have trouble expressing themselves in 3 minutes. Wouldn't want to cut them off unless, you guys all thought, well, this is going on too long. We'd politely ask the person to stop talking. But to me, this is kind of anti-free speech. That's the way I read it.
Yes, sir. Just for a note, in city council meetings, for the record, Mr. Bruno Slight just walked in. Bruno's here. Just from my personal, I mean, yeah, I understand. What I've seen at the city council meetings, Mr. Jacobs, is it's up to the chair, which in that case being the mayor, that if they need more than 3 minutes, then he can allow the person to say, okay, you know what, we'll go ahead and finish. We'll give you X amount of time to finish, if need be. So if somebody were to come here and got a concern, and it's up to the chair, yourself, or the vice chair, that can allow for them to continue adding up to the 3 minutes. You get me?
I understand why they do that in city council, but this is a pretty narrowly focused committee.
Right.
So I would think if somebody cared enough about an issue to want to come speak to the committee, we ought to give them a reasonable amount of time and deference to say their piece. That's all.
Right. So are you requesting possibly we can talk to maybe changing those 3 minutes, and if anybody wants to come in an allowable time?
If the committee agrees, you might talk to Jose and say,
Okay.
to be so specific that the chair can ask the person to limit their remarks or something, but if the whole whole world knew they only had 3 minutes, why drive to the airport and talk?
Right.
And then get kicked out of the meeting, and then, I don't know, it just seems not great to me, but I'll just leave that for you to
Sure.
go say. Or if others don't agree with me, that's okay too, you know.
Right. I mean, we can bring it up to the next week, and I don't know. Any comments from the committee?
The only comment I've got is we haven't had that many visitors here.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me like we didn't cut anybody off. I mean, we let them talk as long as they wanted to. And I think that's the way it should be, you know, within reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with Gary, but I don't think we have an issue here.
But if the situation were to arise, and somebody wants to come, let them talk.
Let them talk.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess it's like, to me, it's, I don't know who reads these things, but it's kind of an intimidation. We don't have an issue, but, you know, why leave a formal declaration that anybody that wants to show up to talk to this committee only has 3 minutes? It's just intimidating to me.
Right.
It would dissuade them from coming, and the city council may not want people to come speak. I would think we do.
Right. No. Yeah. Of course. Of course. No. I see your point, sir. I see your point, and we can swing it by Mr. Valdez if that's a, you know, we can take off that little clause there and say, you know, up to the discretion of the chair, they can speak all, you know, as much as they want, whatever they got to say. But we'll bring that up to you next meeting, Mr. Jacob, to see what we can. I know Gloria Landin has a raising her hand back there.
We can revise it. They just told me to use the language that was being used, but we can revise it. That's no
I
problem.
can't hear.
She said that it can be revised, Ms. Landin, or my secretary, which is now, by the way, will be attending the meetings. Ruthie is now with the health department permanently. So Gloria Landin is my secretary, and now will be sitting on our board meetings. But Chris is her. Chris will be her pinch hitter, just in case you know she can't make it. But she's saying that it can be revised. We don't have to leave it for 3 minutes. I think we just copy and paste it because that's what all the city does. That's all the others from the city. But if the committee agrees, what we're saying here is that we can go ahead and remove that from the public comments. Okay?
Good, thank you. And then, all the other comments, I'm sorry I missed the last meeting, but on the staff report, item 2 of the proposed study of pricing of the lighting, I just want to remind everybody that if this goes forward or before it gets too detailed, we talked about this before, but you know, Robert Trent Jones allows us to have his signature on this course, which I think is meaningful because he designed it. So a change in design would have to be approved by them or they could revoke their name.
Okay. And you're saying if we move forward with adding lighting to the course, is that correct?
Exactly. They have to approve it. In other words, they have to say, that's okay with us, and where you're gonna do it is okay. And if we don't get that, and they come to check to be sure, which they do periodically in any courses, then they could say, we don't approve this, it changed our design without our approval, and they could cancel their name. It would no longer be a Robert Trent Jones course. So I think it's worth consulting with them.
Okay.
I've got a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Pellegrini's got a question.
Gary, does that hold true for like replacing trees?
About trees, but I think lighting is gonna be something that they're gonna wanna.
Okay, so then it wouldn't have any issue on trees that have, you know, fallen down, or we want to put something somewhere.
I don't think so. I mean, I think if we started replacing fallen trees and putting them in different places, then they definitely would want to have a say about that. If we made a hole easier or more difficult, they would want to be consulted. You know, perhaps the lighting, but I would think, you know, personally, and having spoken to Bruce about it, I would think they would probably approve it, but they'd want to know what we plan to do and where we plan to do it. And then note that in their design. But this is their design that they signed off on. That's how we got the signature.
Okay, so if we move forward with this project, before we even start, we need to see if if Trent Jones will get their approval to keep their signature on it, on the course. Is that correct?
Yes, I mean, I would say yes. You know, a call can be made to Bruce, who's president of Robert Trent Jones. Say this is what we plan to do, and maybe if whoever is doing this as a drawing or something like that, we'd send it to them and see what they say.
Okay.
In other words, we don't want to do anything.
Right.
Design-wise, to lose the designation that it's a Robert Trent Jones course, which I think, if anything's happened over the last 10 years, the value of his signature on courses has gone up.
Right.
Courses they've done since they did the max.
Hey, everybody. Thank you.
Golf community, very hard. I just wouldn't want to do anything to lose the designation of this course as a signature course.
Okay. For the record, Mr. Ricky Garza just walked in as well. Ricky, just to fill you in, Mr. Jacobs is, before we, on the minutes, was saying that before we go into further study as far as the lighting concern for the course that we had talked about, want to make sure that gets cleared by Trent Jones Corporation, that if we do put any lighting, that we don't lose their signature, their blessing, or the value of the course.
Correct.
So that's what he's concerned about, and that's where I guess we'll reach out to. I don't have the contact, Mr. Jacobs. If you have that contact, just to maybe I can make the call, and we can make the call to see what they suggest. Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you Bruce's phone number.
Do you know the guy? Do you know?
No, I wasn't involved.
What's his name? Bruce what?
Bruce Charlton, Charlton, and he's the CEO of Robert Trent Jones Junior Golf.
Okay.
And his work number is 650-475-0337. And if that doesn't answer, his email is BC Bruce Charlton. I'm sorry, it's B Charlton. B is in Bravo, CHARLTON at RTJ2, digit2.com.
Okay.
That's in Palo Alto, California. He's a very, very nice guy. He travels all over the world all the time, so he's not always to get a hold of. I just want to be careful as we go forward with this that we don't.
No, we can reach out to him about the bunkers.
Their signature on the course.
Right. Okay. And we got another. I guess we'll bring it up here during the meeting. That we can also have a question for him. Well, I guess we can discuss it now. About the possibility if we can on bunker number 11, on hole number 11. I'm sorry, that long bunker on the left. If I know Mr. Smith now came on board, and I'll introduce him. Well, I'll let Dennis introduce him. That possibly we can add some turf to it, or some. Is that correct? That we maybe.
Yeah, make it look similar to what's, drop the edges down. Do a small bunker in the front, small bunker in the back. Still gives it the same character. In the middle of that area, drop those faces down so they roll in, and just plant the bottom and mow it out. It'll look similar to what's on the golf course.
On 18.
We could run a wire around the existing edge That way, if somebody later down the road ever wanted to create it, they know exactly where it was by location. You know, just put a detector on it, you can find out where it was. That would also help with the drainage down there.
What was that, Mr. Jacobs?
I definitely, David, would talk to them about that before you do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, so now we have the contact person before, you know, but I know we had brought that up to me, so before we can do that, so. Okay, now we'll get to, all right, and I'm sorry, anything else like, moving forward on the meeting, sir?
He may refer you to somebody else, but at least they have to have the opportunity to have a seat at the table if we start fooling with their design. That's the whole.
Right. Okay,
All I had on that.
yes, sir. Anything on the minutes before we move forward, committee?
Sure.
So we got 2 issues to discuss with Robert Trent Jones.
Yes, sir.
Approve the minutes.
Just approve the minutes. Yeah, y'all need to make a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion for approval of the minutes from July 22nd.
We had a request to approve the minutes by Mr. Rick Garza, second by Mr. Robert Mancha, for approval of the minutes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Well, approved with my comments on those, right?
Yes, sir. We wrote them down.
I mean, I think we ought to have in the minutes, maybe it's the minutes of this meeting, but I'm commenting on what I read in the last meeting, that I just want to be sure that all this is approved by
That's correct.
Robert.
We'll add that to this meeting's minutes.
Okay.
You that, Gloria?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Items for discussion with possible action. There is nothing for that item. I am going to take advantage of this moment because I saw that she walked in before we move on, because I know she's got a busy day and she was kind enough to meet us here. Before we go to staff reports, I invited Ms. Noraida Negron. She is our, I call her PIO, but what is your official title, Noraida?
Communication Administrator.
Communication Administrator for the City of Laredo. She has done a great job, and I can personally say that for us on my department, as far as showcasing the rec centers. Okay, she went in there, did a video. I don't know, did you bring a video by any chance? Or?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
It's in the page.
Yeah, if you have a chance, go to our webpage, the Parks and Rec Department, and click on the rec centers. And she went in there, professionally done. I said, hey, who hired Hollywood? You know, I thought somebody from Hollywood came to do that, because that was, my guy's probably gonna got on the phone and just kind of walked around. But to showcase the rec centers. So in about a month ago or less, I went out to the course with Dennis, and we started talking about, I know Rick had this, hey, we need to get out there more, you know, let's showcase it more, we need to let people know out there about the course. And in talking with Dennis, and then I brought this up to Noraida, she wants to go out to the course and do something similar to what she did for the rec centers. Okay? Do flyover. Noraida, I think I'll let you take it from there. What idea you think we can do here?
Absolutely. So I also oversee what's now called Laredo TV. It's our public access channel. We rebranded it and renamed it, but with it comes new content. And so the content is more about showcasing what the city of Laredo has to offer. So therefore, of course, our Max Mandel golf course is one of those places that I don't think a lot of people obviously know that it exists, and in right here in our backyard, right? So I had kind of approached JJ on wanting to do a brand new video. We used to have one, but to be honest, it is very old and outdated. A lot of the information that was in that video doesn't even exist anymore. A lot of people that were in the video are no longer with the golf course. So I wanted to create something new, different. Let's showcase the golf course. Let's explain to people exactly what we offer for them and do something similar. Yes.
Well, who's gonna see the video?
So after, oh, you mean like in general?
Yeah, what's
We
the
can-
purpose of the video?
We can post it on our social media. We can have it as content for Laredo TV. A lot of people do watch. And we can also put it on our City of Laredo website. You guys can use it on your website. It can be used for many different reasons.
That's a great idea, and if you're gonna shoot a new video, you ought to do it while it's still green, not in December.
No, that's right. Yeah, and also in your webpage as well. I mean, that can be downloaded to the
Yes.
webpage
Yeah,
as
that
well.
can be
media.
downloaded. We provide
Yeah,
them with the
and
link
I'm-
and they can download the video.
And I'm pretty sure you guys, I don't know what I'm talking about. If you go to, and I'll give you an example. A month ago, I went to go play golf with my boys. So hey, let me go find a golf course. And we played the Royal Links. So you go to the Royal Links and it shows you the website and it shows every hole, Noraida, and like a little quick flyover over every hole.
Absolutely.
Just, you all seen that, of course, right? And that's kind of what we, hey, we'll get out the max. Oh, look, here's hole number 1 and here's hole 2 and here's hole 3.
We can have an order that add some tidbits, like just, it's called pro tip suggestions. So you could say arroyos to the right, layup to the left. It's actually in our little scoreboard or scorecard book that you can actually just use it to guide
Perfect.
you. It works out well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it could be a little bit voiced. I think it needs to be a little bit voiced over with just information as to what, the golf course has to offer.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anything y'all's committee would like to add to?
I wanted to, I know when we discussed it before, the idea for that was also so that we can have, or everybody can have accessibility to it, but at the hotel level. Every hotel down, because you have the people in that committee and the visitors bureaus and all that, and it can be on a running loop as they walk into the hotels that they usually have monitors there that we can see, we can put it there as a service to the city of Laredo. I'm not sure if it's paid advertising when you go to the hotel to do that.
I don't
But
think
that's
so.
something to look
That's something
into.
we can check with the CBB and we
Yeah.
can find out with them. I mean, we have so many
Oh, there you go.
hotels that work with them, so
Yeah.
I think that would be.
So in the
I think
past-
if it's the same message that you're trying to produce here, or the same commercial you're trying to produce here, you can approach every hotel in town to do the same thing. Even here at the airport, there's a.
They can
there's a-
put it there, yeah.
And it's a
We have
continuous
access
loop
to it.
that just showcases it at every moment.
Absolutely.
Right.
So this is something maybe we can approach the hotels with. I guess when I first took on board like 7 years ago, I went and visited several hotels and they let me put a TV there, and I had a USB with a video just
Sure.
solely streaming for it. Nowadays, the TVs are even cheaper. So it maybe it's something we can talk to the hotels and giving us a little space. We used to have the TV and then a bag of golf with the toilets at the max and all that. But I mean, obviously include everybody that needs to be part of it as far as other amenities that we have in town, but just something that maybe we could tie into all the hotels. Give us a little, nowadays you can get a 30-inch TV for, I don't know, $100 almost. But yeah, it makes great sense to update that video. Since then, we've gone into the wedding business, and it's
Right.
one of Laredo's top outdoor wedding
It's
venues.
beautiful. I've been there for events too, and I know how beautiful this location is.
And if we can get Rick to do some swings when you're doing videos, so that they can know that anybody can play the max. You don't have to be good at golf. Anyone's welcome.
No, for sure. We want to showcase what you have to offer. So before we go out there, we would sit down,
Yeah.
obviously, with you and whoever else needs to be in the meeting,
Yeah.
and we can go over as to some ideas.
I just sat down with Madison, or I think they're called Madison, and they did a whole, I guess, hour. They just interview you, and I guess they're gonna get tidbits and all
Well,
that.
that's fine, so
But
long
we
as
could do
it's
something
fair.
similar.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's a long
Yeah, but Madison, you're paying Madison.
Yeah, I know. Nada. Daddy.
Yeah, so,
But, Noradia,
There you go.
Yes.
this is Gary. So this is really, I think, a great idea, an additional promotional piece for the golf course. So you should consider, when Jason talks to Bruce Charlton at Robert Trent Jones, see if we can get Bobby Jones, they call him Robert Trent Jones Jr., to do a little intro for you. He, when they came to inaugurate the golf course, he gave a great speech about the uniqueness of the course and how much pride they took in designing it and all of that. And so if we could get quotes from him, his face, his voice, he's also fluent in Spanish, so you could do it English or Spanish.
What was his name, Mr. Jacobs?
Bruce.
What was his name again?
Trent Jones Jr.
The design.
Robert Trent Jones.
Oh, that,
Designer.
The
The
man.
designer.
the man. Okay.
The man.
Okay.
Do we have any archives of him doing that recorded by the city anywhere?
Yeah, the city has the whole, as I'm sure unless in your library or videos from the courses inaugurated, he gave great speeches and all of that.
We can
I don't
check.
know.
We can check if we have it, but I suggest if we can get a hold of him, he himself can do this. Now everyone can on their phone,
And just mail it over.
and actually send it to us, and we can definitely include that in there. That's not a
Yeah,
out
To
there.
me, yeah, because this was 10 years ago, whenever that he did
Yeah.
it, so,
I would say
for him to
let's do that.
somehow understand what you're doing, what the purpose is to get more play on the course, and let him do an intro with some great remarks about the design of the course and its importance. It could be just a minute or something, you know, but I think it would be nice to start this video clip with the architect who's famous, commenting.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah.
Sounds good.
We're gonna do this like soon as possible,
That's
right?
fine.
Like this,
We're ready.
we're talking about it next week already, getting on this, all right? So, what do you need from us? You need first of all, needs to get cut and all that.
Yeah. We
But,
would need to meet.
You could add his remarks after you do the whole video, right?
Right. We could do it either way. That's not an issue.
I take it out.
On the contrary, we can meet next week. I am going to a conference in Houston, so I leave Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'm good Monday and Tuesday. Monday during the day, because then we have city council meeting, and then Tuesday, just let me know.
Maybe
and
Tuesday.
we can make this work, and then so when I come back, we can definitely start.
would you need like a flyovers? What do you call those things?
Drone.
A
Drone and all that.
We have accessibility to drones, so that's not an issue.
Okay.
Okay.
That's.
Yep.
All right.
We have Laredo PD's drone. We also have Gene Badmatis's drone that he already had asked me if I needed it. That they have several of them, so we can just.
There's gonna be shots in there that I think will be beneficial, early in the morning with the first light. And I
Yeah.
think over the course of the next couple of weeks, we're gonna probably start seeing a little bit more fall weather. So the afternoon sunlight is also gonna make it, bring it out a little bit more.
That's a good idea.
So, because if we do it,
All in
midday-
one time,
yeah,
it's not gonna
midday,
work
It's
out.
just not gonna give you the shots that you want.
Perfect. So
Maybe
Dave,
when we meet, we need to bring those up and we can
yeah, the
figure
sundown
out
and the
times
sunsets are the
and all
best
that.
in town. Honestly, I'm out there in the evenings. It's amazing.
Did any of y'all have the cell phone video clips of those two bobcats on the green on 15? It was taken a couple of years ago. Maybe
It's
just
bad. Hit it close.
include-
Yeah.
The video of the bobcats.
I don't have that one, but I have several other of the bobcats and the deer that have taken over. There's a lot of deer now. It's really, I got some really cool pictures that I
is
can share with them.
pretty. Yeah, hopefully when we are out there. we
Somebody
can-
sent me a year or so ago, a clip of two bobcats, I think it was on 15.
Yeah, they hang out in 14, 15, and 18. There's a den down by the arroyo on 18. And every year, I guess she has either one or two cubs. And it's pretty cool to watch.
But we probably need to wait a week, not next
Yeah.
week, because we just
That's
pre-emerged
fine.
and
Yeah, tomorrow,
fertilized.
Tuesday's just an informal meeting.
Yeah, just an
and then-
informal meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of coordinate with you
Yes, sir.
whenever you're ready. In other words, this hole's are ready. Let's do these, and we'll go from there. You're
Yeah,
good?
yeah.
David
That'll
wants to
give it
get on a
time to
diet.
kick in
so he's
and-
good on the-
Yeah.
We're changing some
I
heights
mean,
up. and-
whenever you guys are ready, we'll put it in our.
But like Rick
calendar.
said, this is a good time of the year that we can start getting that.
Especially if it's got, remember with his dew in the morning? And those are the ones that are the good shots that you're gonna be able to.
So another question,
Yes.
what's the time of completion for this whole?
So
Project.
depends how long you
Yeah,
you know
'cause there's
it's
editing
going
and
to
so
be.
forth.
Right. So some of the I was trying to open
The Rex Center?
the rec center and it's I guess we're in the airport, so like Wi-Fi is not very good. But anyway, It depends on how big. I'm thinking 3 minutes, 5 minutes the most.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it too long. I would say 3 minutes will be perfect because we will be able to showcase, the holes and then, the whole area for parties, things like that. So I would say 3 minutes will be awesome. That would not take us long. I would say 2 days to edit, with some music in the background, some everything else that we need to put in there and produce. But if we can produce some of these things in advance, I think it'll be fine. The fact that we have to go maybe at different times that will take a little longer, because we'll probably have to go early in the morning and then again, later in the evening or right when sunset is happening, things like that. So let's do that initial meeting first so that we can see, and then I can probably give you a better timeline as to when this can be done. I mean, we're pretty fast editors.
They're pretty good
so
with the rec centers.
It was super fast. Yeah.
Super fast. As soon as they get the footage, they'll knock it down pretty fast.
We start on it right away, yeah. And I think this is the right time. We were very busy, obviously, with COVID and things like that. So right now it's the time, and with Laredo TV, obviously, we are looking for more content and more things to showcase, and that's what we have envisioned right now to kind of educate people. And it's not just the Max, right? We're doing the rec centers. We're doing all the different departments, what programs they have to offer for people. So there's a lot going on that we're already putting in as well. So we just wanted to.
The laptop shut off.
Turned off. I needed, I guess.
We lost.
No, we lost.
You done. All right.
I think the battery was
The battery.
But no, they plugged it in.
They plugged it in, I should have.
turning back on again.
Unless it's not on. This little device. Oh, this has juice.
Oh, here.
No, it's on because it has the.
In the back, it's got a,
Let's see. Did it? You show it charging now?
no, it was on.
No, you turned
Okay,
it off.
so
because
it was
yeah.
on.
It's off now.
It's off now. Oh, and then now it was off. That's why it wasn't charging.
I found it.
There it is.
Okay.
We just need to play it.
Yeah. Let me see if y'all can
That's nice.
Just play it.
just play it. Hit play and just.
James and Maria Luisa Haynes Recreation
Perfect.
Center, located on 2102 Clark's
Invite
Crossing Drive,
No,
on District 2.
the phone is
Let's
ringing.
look inside. Sitting on 8 acres at 57,000 square feet.
It's literally, we
this
go
center
through,
features
the bath center is humongous. We do the pool, we do the inside, outside, everything. So
Which is that one?
that's the Haynes Recreation
On
Center,
Clark?
it's on Clark.
Oh, the one on Clark, okay.
Mhm. That has a lot of amenities. So it took us a long time to go through it.
I think
but
we
it's
have
cool.
a small wedding in November and 2 in December, so maybe we could tie that into. Because I mean, I have a video of one that we just did. It's like a $20,000 quinceañera. It was beautiful.
Oh, I saw pictures on
Yeah.
social media.
That was
of
amazing.
It was
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I haven't gone there. I haven't, hey.
It's beautiful.
Well, it's a nice rec center.
It is one of our
State of the art.
Yeah, state of the art. Yeah. So it'll be something, along the same lines, but for the golf course. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Let JJ know. And
We'll coordinate.
we'll help you. Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good night. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. There's lunch here if you want to take a sandwich or something.
I made them earlier.
Okay. We'll move on to I guess staff reports. I don't know.
Okay.
You want to introduce it?
Yeah.
David.
Well, as you all know, David had kind of been helping us part-time because we were waiting for negotiations on the contract. Everything got extended. David is on full-time now, so you'll see a couple of things that David's really good at. He's been working on the golf course. So there's 2 reports that we're going to share with you. One is just kind of what's been going on. I know there was some issues over the summer on, hey, there's greens are looking a little shabby or they're not looking as sharp as they used to. We had a lot of irrigation.
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We had a lot of irrigation issues that I guess with time we'll start seeing more and more of. We're thinking that in-ground irrigation's been under almost 12 years now.
Yeah, 13, 14.
Yeah, so we're looking at about 12 years now that the irrigation, some of it has already been underground. So in this report, it's real simple. It just shows the 12 leaks we had starting from like June 6th through late September, early October, and it caused us to have to shut down water or to some areas for 26 days, not in totality, but 3 days here, 2 days here. 5 days at times, because there was a valve that was gonna feed into all the tributaries, so it wasn't just that we could shut down half of the course and all that. But it's really just to be transparent with you guys on what we had been experiencing, and it's something that we had never experienced as a golf course. We've always been the young ones around, so no issues. But this year, it really came to bite us. But as we experienced it, we also got in communication with Coach every time, and we've gotten quicker at it. At first, we didn't expect it, and these things are, what are they called, sleeves that you put on a leak. Well, COVID-19 affected everything, so sometimes it took 3 or 4 days to get something, but now we've tied into the city's inventory, and they have them, and we just call them and they give it to us, so it's about a 1-day turnaround now. So moving forward in the summers and all that, we shouldn't have more than 1 or 2 days at max that we have to be down. The leaks right now, we're sending the same report to Landscapes, the people who built our golf course, just so they can see if it's something that is just because of old age or there's something going on. There's been some talk about a welding that was, I guess there was a certain way to do it before, and then they told them later on, well, there's a little different aspect to it. If that's the case, we'd go back and start being proactive in the winters and going and addressing those areas and fix it before it even breaks down, so we don't have it all accumulate for us on the summers.
Yeah, they're all at valves. They're all at metal valves, 8-inch, 6-inch, 3-inch, and it's from the actual tee, which is a different product. It's the same product but a different material, and then the pipe, and they're all breaking.
So they welded on brass into.
No, it's a flange. It's a flange.
Oh, it's flange like.
Yeah, HDP flange to metal.
Okay.
So they're all breaking exactly in the same spot. So those valves are going to be 14, 15, 16 years old, maybe 17, 18 time we get to all of them, 19. So while we're doing this, fixing these problems, we ought to look at redoing the valves, because that's going to come up anyway. It might be 5 more years, but when we're doing this, we need to collectively start replacing these things as we dig them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, we had some really, heavy winter.
Irrigation system done by Landscapes Unlimited.
Sorry, you got cut off.
What was the question, Mr. Jacobs?
From memory, the irrigation system was done.
Correct.
By Landscapes. They didn't subcontract it. They did the irrigation.
Correct.
They had a guy that worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, to me, these valves should last 25 years.
Correct.
Or 30 or 40. They they're long life valves. We shouldn't have to be doing this. So somebody has to get a hold of Landscapes.
Yeah, we've already been in communications with them. They'll be getting the same report that I'm sharing with you guys here. That way they can look into it and see if it's a welding issue or the way they would, I guess they have to do it by a certain operation wise, they have to do it a certain way. And I don't know if they said that it turned out that when they gave them those directions, that they went ahead and changed them, not OSHA, but I don't know, they mentioned one of those acronyms, and that they changed it because they were seeing some issues.
Shouldn't they be sharing the cost in this?
Yeah, well, right now, luckily, it just started. So, this was the first summer that we experienced that many. We've had some in the past, but it'd be 1 or 2. And if you noticed, it would be mainly under the bridge. Under the bridge, there's a pipeline that feeds under. You can see where it looks like a transformer arm. It's got all these attachments to it. And they did that purposely. They didn't want to go under the arroyo. They figured it'd be easier to go to the top in case there was leaks. But yes, we've been talking to them and we've shared all this information, and now we put it kind of together and organized it just to show them how often it was happening, how many times it did happen over this summer.
This is irrigation. Now, are all these pipes, are they all metal?
No, it's something called...
It's HDPE, high density polyurethane, and there's different. It's a good pipe.
Are those more effective than just?
Yeah, they're a 50-year pipe, 100-year pipe probably. The reason I like it, on the presentations that have seen, they have them in Africa, and they're above ground for 20, 30 years in the sun and cold and whatever.
So they're designed for long lasting.
Yeah, the old patches.
And it's not the pipe itself; it's the weld.
Oh.
That's what we're
I
seeing.
guess my question
I just thought they
is,
used PVC.
it sounds like an issue of Landscape. So instead of us doing this, shouldn't they come look at it?
Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
That's what we're doing right now. We're looking into it to get together and see what we're going to do about this.
Yeah, they're gonna send somebody down, and then they're gonna look at it, and then we're gonna send them a piece of pipe and the welding, so that they can send it to an independent laboratory so they can check it.
Is there any, maybe you would answer that, Dave, any ground shifting on that pipe that's under the bridge that's causing more stress on one side than the other?
It shouldn't matter.
Because it doesn't have any support that I can see here.
It shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
You can drag that stuff.
So I mean, but if on one side of the creek does this or the other, it stresses it out a little bit more?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, that stuff is really stout. I could be mistaken, but I don't think so.
I noticed in the paper the other day that the water master in TCEQ is saying that Amistad is now at drought levels. So that means we're gonna go back to where we were several years ago when they're allocating and rationing water out of Amistad.
Yeah.
When we built the golf course, the only water it had was the 500 acre feet that we gave the city. And so then at that time, both Tomas Rodriguez and I think Riazul said, look, the city needs irrigation water for a number of reasons. So when the market was cheap, they went out and bought around 2,000 acre feet of water. And when Tom was there managing, we went through this. Our family in the golf development agreement is supposed to give a monthly report from the golf course saying, okay, we use so much of your water. They send a statement every month.
Yes, we get that report, and I'll go ahead and share it with David so he can start communicating with you and sharing it with you.
I've gotten it in a long time.
Yeah.
And so, I want to see that, but I talked to Riazul this morning because, David, the way it works with the water master, if you don't use the water, even though you own a perpetual right to that water, they reduce your allocation to zero. So you can own 2,000 acre feet, but if you never pump it, then when the drought comes and they start rationing, you get nothing. So we had this conversation maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember. I've had it a number of times. Did it with Riazul and JJ. He's going to call you about it also.
Right.
But y'all, I mean, you may be doing this, but I just want to remind everybody.
Yes, we use your account at 277700, and then we use the other account and we rotate on it. That way they're being used evenly. And we're training David now with it so that he can be able to take forth ownership of it now that he's on board full time.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're doing that. It is very important.
Correct.
Because that's exactly why the city bought this additional water. And so I hope you've been using, you don't have to use all of it, but you gotta use enough of it.
Correct.
When they start cutting, we can pump from all 3 different or 5 different accounts and keep the course where it's supposed to be.
Yes, now
That's why they do.
we get a bi-weekly visit, I guess because of the rationing that might be coming forward from the Texas Water Commission. I just met with her on last Tuesday. Very friendly lady. Maria retired, now it's Hermina. But we talk to her on a monthly basis when we submit. We can submit at a month at a time now. And then we send them our reading of the pump, and then they send it back, and they're looking at the levels that we're using now. They're looking at it closer than before. Before they didn't even, but like you mentioned, maybe it's because they know what's coming up, coming ahead.
Well, but again, the whole exercise, David, is what they did last time. They cut everybody to around 25% of the allocated amount. Well, 25% of 500 acre feet is not enough to keep this course green, which is why the city bought more water. So we just want to be sure that when they start reducing your allocation, you take enough water from each of those accounts to get your 500 or 600 acre feet of water you need to keep the course where it's supposed to be. That's the whole exercise. And of course now, I think they're flushing the Pico water plant, right? Are you still getting some water? No?
No, they took down that pipe that was there, the one that was above ground.
Riazul thought that they were still giving you water. So
Yeah, Ria, on the drive over here, Ria called me, this is JJ, that to let us know what he's talking about, that I'm sure we alternate. But he said, we're also giving water from the Pico. That's what Ria told me on the drive up before I got here. So what you're saying, we don't.
I think that was when we had that blue pipe that was running from one of the fire hydrants to the lake. But then I guess when they started doing the lots, they were asked to remove it, and they did remove it. And I think that's when we no longer got water from Pico.
Well, you should put that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing's gonna happen there for a while.
Okay.
But you could also put that line back just inside your property line.
Yeah. I think at that time it was emergency. They just kind of did it on the
We
fly.
let them lay it through the farmland years ago just because it was an emergency and it was easy. But it's just as easy to lay it on city property and
Yeah.
leave it there.
That'd be great.
Because we don't want to get into a situation in August where the water master says, I'm not giving anybody any water, and Pico has plenty of water and we can't pump it because there's no line. So we ought to anticipate all that.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll bring that up. I have a meeting with Rio today at 3.
Is
So
there a way to reroute that line?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Right,
just
over
from the
here.
fire hydrant through the back of the maintenance.
It just lays on the surface.
Yeah.
It's a very simple, the city still has the pipe. I don't know where it is, but
Yeah.
it was like a 4-inch line, Dennis?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It wasn't, it's very easy to redo.
who took it off?
I think the city had to come take it off.
But just to comment, it's a two-edged sword, guys, because if we took all Pico water, we'd lose the allocation from the water master, see? So we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, but we do want to have the availability to use that water in an emergency if the water master says, I'm not giving anybody water for 2 weeks.
Correct.
Then Pico will always get water,
Correct.
because it's the highest priority, so.
Okay.
All right. And then after, we got those slide presentation for you guys, and they'll be emailing it to you so you can have a bigger version that you can look into. But all it states is when we fixed it, the day we reported it, and who we talked to, who we communicated with, whether it was the coach or with the people from the city, who fixed it, if it was the city or if it was our guys that did it at the house, and then the size of the pipe that we actually went ahead and fixed, whether it was an 8-inch, 3-inch, or 6-inch. Any questions, just reach out to me when you see me at the golf course. You have my phone number, most of you. I know Bern will text me every 2 days. But I also have here a plan, an agronomy plan from David Smith. If you want to just kind of go over it. I know there was some misspellings. The girl at the office didn't know what irrigating Fuey. It was a fairway. Handwriting was a little off.
But anyway, starting October 25th, we got the pre-emergent out this week with the fertilizer mixed in with a slow release, 200 pounds per acre. Our spray rig's down right now. It should be back either Friday or Monday. I'll be pre-emerging the greens, the curb, and then the soil tests come back where there's a lot of salts in the upper levels of these greens. So what we're gonna do is I started verticutting, but I was kind of scared to do it with these water leaks. And y'all saw what happened on some of the holes, I think, if y'all played, where they didn't come back as quick, so we were having to hand water them with our spray truck. It was almost to the point where we had to call city trucks out to just spray water on them. So there was a lot of thatch on top, so we're taking that thatch down. I can't do it anymore. It's winter time. You know how algae creeps up around here. So we've raised the heights on the greens to 160. We'll treat them with a growth regulator to keep the speed up on them through the winter. Once it gets cool enough, then we just roll.
You're gonna roll?
We just roll.
Yeah.
Once it gets cold, we'll probably mow once a week just to clean up and then roll. I guess basically, once it gets dormant, y'all been spraying the fairways green to make it look better. I've always sprayed them black, but whatever y'all want to do. But that's in this process here. And then we'll pre-emerge. We'll drop the rates down. We'll pre-emerge all through winter.
Okay,
Try to keep
real quick, Dave. Just what is pre-emerge? I don't know if everybody knows what pre-emerge is.
Post-emerge is when the weed comes up and you spray it out. Pre-emerge is when to stop it from coming up.
Oh.
So on number 1 green, there's some greens out there that they get pull on them, and then in the summertime they get, because they're thin, they aren't healthy. So hopefully with the deep time aerification, we'll get some sand down there, get this salt going down, and we're using chemicals like that. So I don't really know past this what we're gonna do once I start getting these soil tests and stuff, but I think we can get these babies back and rolling here once we get into spring. They're already decent now. I mean, we got a couple little spots. 12's almost healed in. We got about not even 200 square feet back there in the back, maybe 50 square feet.
Yeah.
What about number 18?
18 is all filling in. You can't see it, but if you get it right on top of it, it doesn't look good. But it's coming in.
It's coming in?
Yeah, we're treating it.
What was
just-
that? Was that a
Salt.
High salt?
Yes. So what was happening is the irrigation has an in and out. So you got your regular irrigation head, and then you have a straight shooter without a back on it, shooting for the slopes. All of them are on, and a lot of them were double turning, so that the greens are getting double watered tonight. And you can't tell that. I mean, if you went out there and turned on the head and you didn't pay attention to it, you wouldn't even have known it. So what we're going to do is start looking for the hot spots during the summer. We'll turn those heads back on, make sure they aren't hitting the greens. That controls, the look around the greens, without getting everything just sopping wet all the time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, with aerification next year and all that, it's going to help. Of course, not be so wet all the time. So we can actually water the way we need to, and it won't be flooded. That's the game plan.
And that's one of the big reasons I advocated for David Smith, because he's from Laredo. So, guys come in for a year or two, they might think they have it figured out, but then they know they're leaving. Hopefully David will be here till, what are you, 65 now?
68.
68, so about another 10 years. Now he's about 53. Maybe we can get another 10, 12 years out of him. But that'd be the key, consistency.
So what we're going to see during spring is, through the summer, is lightly vertical mowing, sanding, as I know some of y'all know that I do that a lot, and spiking a lot, making sure those salts get down. That water is really salty. This isn't exact, but it's going to be, I don't know what actual product I'm going to be using, but I'm going to start using seaweed extracts. We're looking at doing all organic from Asmussen's. They're right down the road. I think we can save some money and get some wood chips out there, get them down in some of these holes when we aerify out in the fairways, those harder fairways like 6.
7 and 2.
2 for sure.
11.
And we can start getting that up because the rough doesn't even grow in those holes. So that's kind of where we're going right now.
If I can bring this up to the committee, Mr. Jacob, can you hear me? This is JJ.
Yeah, sure.
We had a good visit, about a month ago. Like I said, it was sat down with Dennis and Dave, and we drove the course and lost balls and all that stuff. Went out there playing. One of the things, and I want to bring this up to the committee. This is what your all's thought is, and I kind of related to baseball because I used to take care of baseball. Is that when I was taking care of Unitrade, we would have everything ready, and then when the team was on the road, that's when we gave us time to put the baseball field back up into shape again when they did their road trips. So in talking to Dave and Dennis, I said, well, you know what, let's bring it up to the committee that maybe right now we don't close at all, but maybe possibly close for maybe a Tuesday morning, just for half a day, so that they can get caught up on whatever things that they know that needs to get fixed, and they don't have to hurry because they got some golfers behind them, or they already have a plan. Hey, you know what? And we talk about Tuesday morning because Mondays the the country club is closed, so then we want to get those golfers over there. But according to Dennis, they make about $800 on a Tuesday, all day, pretty much.
Yeah, all day. So we use the morning.
Right.
That's the slowest.
In the morning, and Tuesday mornings are the
Tuesday mornings are the slowest. And they make $800-900 is the slowest time of the week, and possibly to help with the course, maintain it and all that. They're possibly closing it Tuesday morning till 12 o'clock.
We get the front 9, and then we would close it, and we would, for about 3 hours, just to give the guys an extra head start on whatever project that they're trying to complete.
Because we are looking at possibly getting some more equipment in here, and that's going to help a lot because you have 2 fairway mowers, one goes down, and you got a lot of play. You're a week into mowing the fairways only. So if we can have Coach Artie's going to look at getting us a backup unit that he has, I think, and that's going to help tremendously. Just in case you have a breakdown, or you sharpen the reels or whatever, there's only one mechanic out there. I'm kind of just looking at getting everything more in sequence, I guess you would say. So you have 2 cup cutters, 2 greens mowers, and then they all do their routines, do the water, do the traps, and then once they're through, everybody goes most fairways. They're through by 2 o'clock, so we can do that twice a week along with growth regulators. And this place is going to be, you'll be able to putt on the fairways.
You should try that for,
I'm in favor of it.
the morning on Tuesdays and see how it works,
Definitely.
What kind of span are you looking at? Like one Tuesday?
Oh, no, one every week. So one
Every
Tuesday,
week, every-
yeah.
okay.
Especially
Every
now
Tuesday
in the winter where
for a couple of months?
in the mornings we're not gonna get a lot of play because it's colder. They get here by noon. The front nine will already be open or the back nine, whatever we decided or whatever they're working on that time. And just to see how it goes over this winter break.
Because that's how,
I need that downtime to get some work done.
All the golfers, so that people don't start drive out there and get mad that they didn't know you were closed on
Yeah,
Tuesday.
no, definitely.
That's
We'll communicate through social media on our new golf carts. We can put signs up there. But at the same time, we can just close one side of the nine, for that time. So we know if we're gonna be working on hole 6, we'll close the front nine for the morning. They can start off the back and then they just come around by the time they.
I think we work our way into it. It's pretty slow out there Tuesday mornings, and I think we work our way into it, whether, shut 1-9 or.
Yeah.
The communication part's gonna be important right there, so you're right about the social media, but if you open up your website, I noticed that, I'm not sure if there's an upkeep on it, that we can constantly be feeding that thing also.
Yeah.
Because, for those people that are not on social media, they can always look up in there, and the schedule is up and running. Instead of get caught, like, for instance, if you start putting it right now and you say, November 20th, we're gonna shut down half a day on this Tuesday.
Yeah.
And everybody's already used to seeing that.
Yeah.
Plus the tea times that they do online, are you getting a lot of activity on that?
No, I mean,
Or
it's
people
just.
walking in?
Well, it's gotten better because there has been some instances where, especially on the weekends.
Right.
And we've talked to coach about it. I guess it was September where football season kind of kicked on and all that. So we had a lot of people make a tea time and not show up. So we talked about it maybe, hey, now you have to pay with your credit card if you want the tea time. And we're going to charge you the full price. But let's say you don't show up or whatever. Well, we'll give you a $25 gift card for the restaurant. Only use about the restaurant. At least you're getting something back. But then that keeps people from we get people that say, like, I need a tea time, and then 3 people don't show up in a row. That's about $1,200.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was to the point where it's gotten back to normal. But I think it was the beginning of football season, college. People hadn't been kind of going tailgating and all that stuff. So I think they would tailgate Saturday and then can't wake up
I
Sunday.
know golf courses in San Antonio will penalize.
Yeah, so that's kind of something we've talked about. And it's leveled out completely. And I don't know if it's because everything's back to kind of, okay, we got our football fixed out of the way. But it's something that we'll continue to monitor.
As far as the next year's projects and through this winter, rock work along the edges of the cart path where we have some erosion. We want to add a bunker to the driving range so we can get some practice out there. Let us get one in, and then we can possibly put like a fairway type bunker out. Let's see how much use we get out of it.
What area are we talking about? What?
Right. Well, we were looking at it. Where you drive up to the tee box, right there.
To the range.
Okay.
Into going towards the range, and we can actually put some flags out there, and it's away from everybody. See how much play we get, and if we need to add another one, we will.
Well, you're gonna close that bunker on what, 11?
Well, no, not yet. We're gonna talk to Bruce first.
We're gonna get some authorization first.
Yeah, but yeah, we're definitely gonna do something like
Use that sand.
Yeah.
We're gonna just keep it up as neat as we can until we.
One
figure
other
out.
question. I know that I talked about it last year sometime. On 11 at the tee box, every time it would rain, there was a large number of puddle there.
I think you're.
Yeah.
I know it was an irrigation.
Yeah.
I like to plant a few mesquite trees. We can dig them out of the brush, plant them back where we lost some of these trees out in the middle. We can get a decent size, or we can order them, depending on what we want to do. I want to look at maybe expanding some native areas and not cutting them out during the winter. Let's go this winter without cutting them out. Only take out some of the taller trees, that come up in the buffalo grass. Drainage along cart paths.
That's what he's talking about.
That's
all these
on the cart.
design changes, and so that all has to be reviewed both with Robert Trent Jones and with me. There's a deed restriction in the gift deed that I gave to the city on trees cutting down that are over 6 inches in diameter, I think.
We're talking about dead trees
Okay, Dad's okay.
to replace them.
I'm happy to give you new trees out of our Vega land and other areas that we have.
Perfect.
trees. I'm not sure how much inventory actually the city might have on the 270 acres, but if you'll, just tell me one day, I'll come down and show you where you can take trees.
Sounds
And you
good.
have the city owns a tree spade that you never use, so maybe JJ can find out where that is.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And, you know, the time to transplant mesquite trees is really best in January and February. They have a much better chance of living. And you do have to ball them
Yes.
and then use the root stimulator.
Yes,
I
sir.
I moved 42 trees in a ranch we had in Mexico. We only lost one.
I moved 18 at the country club, and they made me cut them down after about 5 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, going on, I want to get rid of all that standing water on the cart pass. We're going to have to do some extensive work on a few holes, but other than that, it's pretty simple. We're going to do that through winter. And
How do you plan to do that? How do you plan to?
well,
get rid of this
some of it already goes into existing drainage, so it's basically buildup. And so we got to take a saw cutter, cut it all out, cut it down below, then drop the sod back in, and the water goes off. The drains a lot of them are right there, but like on number 3, you know, it goes between the tee box. So I'm going to take and we'll saw cut it out, and then we'll dig a trench, and then, you know, put it going back into the river
Okay.
or into the side land there.
You know, I mean, again, my suggestion is you lay all this stuff out and then call Jones and probably have to pay somebody or Landscapes Unlimited to come down and say, okay, we sign off on all this. Especially the bunker. It's a good idea to have a bunker on the practice green. And again, that's their design, so. You have to
Look
Okay.
at
get
it.
them to approve it.
And then look at cleaning up down by the river, down at the bottom there. Mr. Pellegrin brought that up a while ago. That's an extensive task there. So let me take a look at it with my sore knee, and but we can start working on it for sure.
Just so you can see from the tee box. You can see
But it
the
needs to be
river.
done, so it's years before you have to do it again. you know?
Yeah.
And they've done it before, I know.
They went in there a couple of times and did it, and there was a time when Border Patrol was going to
Border
come
Patrol
in
was gonna
with a hand that just goes down there and kind of just
The grapple.
The grapple.
Yeah.
Which hole? 9?
By the
9s,
clubhouse,
15,
9.
16.
The whole.
Yeah, that
You
area.
know what, I don't know if y'all brought it up earlier, the blind spot on number 17. You can't see towards the green because along the fence line, it already has
Oh,
all
the
this growth.
mesquite?
Yeah, I don't know if it's mesquite or what, but it just has a lot of overgrowth that you used to be able to tee off and see, but now you don't know if somebody's ahead of you. So you don't know if you're teeing up into somebody.
Yeah, if you look at the carts, it'll show you. So it'll say blind spot, and then it'll actually, you hit click, and it'll show you the other carts if there's a cart in the
In that way?
In that way,
Okay.
yeah,
But they're not fine.
yeah.
So back to the views of the river, the views of the river on 9 as you're approaching the green. When the course was built, you had unobstructed views of the river, all in there. And all those salt cedars have grown up, and now that everybody wants to get rid of them, if David and JJ have a team that can do that, go in there with chainsaws and then do whatever, get rid of them and open those views up. The same thing on 15 or 16, I think on the 16th fairway. Well, from the 15th green, you could see the river perfectly. I'm not sure how all that is.
Yeah,
now,
it's,
Not
but
now.
it's just covered up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too
you
thick.
get the more salt cedars you can get rid of, David, the better. And the other thing we ought to keep an open eye is the governor's $2 billion fund to
Yeah.
build a concertina wire fence along the river. We want to be sure that the city doesn't give them permission to put that on the frontage of the golf course.
Okay. Yeah, we had talked about that something had just come through, but it's gonna be, so now they don't have to put it above like they wanted to do originally, right? We was gonna cut right across the number 9 and the clubhouse. This they can actually lay down over there by the hog fence. That'd be kind of ideal, is that?
So just to remind everybody, I had a vision 11 years ago or 12 years ago that they were gonna do this. So there's a specific prohibition in our gift deed to the city that they cannot give any land for construction of a fence, a wall, a camera station, nothing. They can't, the city is prohibited from doing that, or the whole golf course reverts back to me. So, they need to pay attention at the city level. So, they
Okay.
can't give, and I'm not gonna give them land on either side of that. So it's silly for the city, because I read something in the paper, the mayor or something said, you know, the city had a lot of land, or this, no, what it was the state has asked the city for an inventory of all the land they own with frontage on the river. And so I antenna went up, so I went back and read the agreement. But anyway, JJ, we don't want a fence in the Vega.
Right.
And, I mean, they can peel it and plant Bermuda grass and sit up at the clubhouse and watch everybody come in if they want. I'm all for getting rid of the carrizo, but they can't build a fence down there.
Okay.
Or the city can't give them any land.
They can't give them the city cannot give them the land. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'll make a note of that, make sure they.
I'm not sure the state can condemn it. You know, we all know that the Corps of Engineers and Homeland Security has condemnation powers. And that's what we were fighting, in the previous administration. So now they've stopped all that, and the state's saying, okay, well, we're gonna pick up where you left off. And they're working with Corps of Engineers, DHS, and they know, they have all the maps, they know everything about all that stuff. I'm just saying, be careful that one arm of the city doesn't accidentally give them a right-of-way or an easement where you don't have a legal right to do it.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it, to me, I wouldn't do it on any of the city parks. I mean, I thought it was extremely offensive when they laid all that wire down there below the outlet mall.
Yeah.
You know, kids are playing down there and they had all that concertina wire, so we don't wanna have the state come back in and do that at the golf course.
Yes, sir. Okay.
That's all I have. That's enough.
Any questions, for Dave, or any concerns that we need to, now with the, on the course?
No, it looks like a good game plan, so let's go with it.
Yeah, I think so, and,
Sounds
so
like-
we're all in agreement for closing on Tuesday mornings? I mean.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna
Yes.
improve the,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Starting, when you want to start?
Next month.
November or December?
November?
Next week?
Next week?
4 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can start this month, it already passed.
Can we start advertising then?
Yeah.
to Make sure.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and post it.
That's
on
up to
the-
you, if you want it to take longer, because
Well,
the
let's do
posting-
2 weeks just for
You
posting
got it.
purposes.
You got it, that's not an issue at all.
Yeah,
The moors are pretty cool anyway, so there's not,
yeah,
Okay.
be more for even summer than even now.
yeah,
So I'll let you make those
yeah.
decisions.
We'll start broadcasting.
Okay. Any items for next meeting that would like for, the committee would like to bring up for discussion, or anything we wanna,
I know that I've mentioned before, but so let's see, we can get it done this next time around.
Chris Perez,
The
safety?
plan.
Yeah, Chris Perez was not able to make it, I'm sorry. Chris Perez is the, you know, Chris, the
Yeah.
fire
Right.
with risk. I told him, Diego, I got a conference this week. They go, okay, but they've been on me about, so Chris,
Yeah, just.
Chris will be,
Whenever he's ready.
Gloria, this would be for us, safety and, for the safety at the max, as far as,
Safety and emergency plan for.
safety and emergency plan. And Chris Perez from, fire department will need to reach out to him.
One other thing for David, I guess you're well aware that we spent about $100,000 building that pig fence, you know, that hog fence. And, it really, since it was built, it's never been maintained as it was designed. As you know, there's a skirt on the outside of it. And so what we were supposed to do is have a rough mower mow that lane, maybe 3 or 4 feet wide on the outside of the fence, so you could drive it and see erosion or anything, that any pig could get under it. We never did that.
Let me take a look at that. I'm not aware of that.
So to the extent that you have time, you probably don't, but maybe JJ could help, it would really be a good idea to get a crew to go in there and mow that outside skirt. In other words, you know, it's the fence, and then it has a really tight wire that goes out about 2 feet, so that a pig or a coyote starts trying to dig under it, it hurts their paws and they can't get under it. But then over time, erosion, all kinds of stuff, we haven't taken a look at that. And the last thing we want is a whole family of pigs to get in there. They're almost impossible to get out. So it's just something on a list of things to do. Maybe you could work with JJ on and see if there is somebody that can take a look at all that and do any remedial work to keep that integrity of that fence. I think it's really important defensively.
Yes.
And this is all around the course, correct? This is all around?
I'll take a look at it, Gigi.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen
Yeah,
it.
we can help you with something. We can get over there and help you out with that. Okay. All right. Anything else from the committee that we want to, I know we have safety, any safety plan and emergency plan. Let's pick a date. I'd like to, you know, a month from now, because I want to meet. December, normally we don't meet, but we need to meet in November. Can we pick a date to see what
The week of the 19th or the 18th.
because when is Thanksgiving? The last week of,
That's a week before.
25th, yeah. The 17th?
the 18th is a Thursday, is that correct?
18th, yeah. Looking at that the other day.
Let's see here, guys, real quick.
18 is the Thursday.
The Thursday, okay, 18th is a Thursday, and then the following Thursday is Thanksgiving, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Okay.
You said the 18th?
Yeah, the 18th would be better for me. Can we do it Thursday, the 18th?
Looks good.
You want to meet here again, or you want to meet out in the course?
Oh, here's fine.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll meet Thursday, the 18th at noon. We'll have some turkey or something.
I think we really turkeyed out by then, but yeah, we'll
No,
definitely.
before.
Right.
It's like kind of like a warm-up.
Just for the next one, also, everything that was discussed as to communications that you guys are gonna have to do with Robert Trent Jones and.
Oh, yeah.
Just bring
the report?
it up.
Okay.
That way we can
Yeah.
move on it and.
Believe me, I'm not touching anything until I have a signed piece of paper.
Yeah, Gloria, status on the report with Robert Trent Jones as far as
I'll follow up.
all the follow-up that we want to do to the course. Anything else, Mr. Jacobs, you want to add, or anything we need to, for next?
Great meeting, folks. I appreciate being included. I'll try to come to the next one.
Okay, so November 18 at 12 o'clock. Hold up.
Election of officers.
Okay, we have to, it's time we have to election of officers. If the committee wants to bring up any nominations, or right now we currently have Mr. Jacobs as the chair and Mr. Rick Garza as the vice chair. If anybody wants to bring up or stay as is, it's up to the committee.
Let me just say, I'm happy to give the chairmanship to anybody else, because I missed a bunch of meetings, but, so.
I was gonna suggest the opposite. I was gonna suggest that you keep on doing it. I think because you seem to have more, in my mind, more of an insight as to the ins and outs of the property there, and I think you've been doing a good job at leading us.
Well, I'm happy to do it, but if anybody else would like it, I'm certainly not offended, so.
Same thing with me. I was gonna suggest that anybody else that wants to get a shot at this, it's not a problem for me either.
I'm in agreement with sticking the way it is right now.
Yeah, rock and roll. Leave it the way it is.
Keep it like it is.
Get a motion?
Okay, you gotta make a motion.
I make a motion, they'll stay the same.
Second.
Done.
it wasn't in the agenda.
So if we-
Oh.
For the next one.
Oh.
It'll be for the next one.
Okay.
It
Well,
was last meeting
Yeah, it was,
that
but we
you
didn't-
guys had, but you
Right.
postponed it.
Right.
That's correct.
I wanted to make sure everybody, I wanted to make sure everybody was here.
Right.
And it makes good sense to have everybody, you know.
Yeah, so just make sure, we'll put it in the agenda, we're gonna vote on on the 18th.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it.
I move we adjourn.
Yeah.
I second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you all, thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.